नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृद्यन्तस्त्वया विदुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्येव तमाश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 39. धर्मो ह्यत्रार्थ कामौ च प्रजानन्दो मृतं यशः लोकाविशोकविरजा यान्य केवलिनो विदुः। धर्मो ह्यत्रार्थ कामौ च प्रजानन्दोऽमृतं यशः लोकविशोकविरजा यान्य केवलिनो विदुः। धर्मो ह्यत्रार्थ कामौ च प्रजानन्दोऽमृतं यशः लोकविशोकविरजा यान्य केवलिनो विदुः। Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The woman continued, in this material world, a householder's life brings all kinds of happiness in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and the begetting of children, sons, and grandsons. After that, one may desire liberation as well as material reputation. The householder can appreciate the results of sacrifices which enable him to gain promotion to superior planetary system. All this material happiness is practically unknown to the transcendentalist. They cannot even imagine such happiness. Purport. According to Vedic instruction, there are two paths for human activities. One is called Pravritti Marga and other is called Nivritti Marga. The basic principle for either of these paths is religious life. In animal life, there is only Pravritti Marg. Pravritti Marg means sense enjoyment and Nivritti Marg means spiritual advancement. In the life of animals and demons, there is no conception of Nivritti Marg, nor is there any actual conception of Pravritti Marg. Pravritti Marg maintains that even though one has the propensity for sense gratification, he can gratify his senses according to directions of Vedic injunctions. For example, everyone has the propensity for sex life, but in demonic civilization, sex is enjoyed without restriction. According to Vedic culture, sex is enjoyed under Vedic instructions. Thus, the Vedas give direction to civilized human beings to enable them to satisfy their propensities for sense gratification. In the Nivritti Marga, however, on the path of transcendental realization, sex is completely forbidden. The social orders are divided into four parts: Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. And only in the householder life can the Pravritti Marg be encouraged or accepted according to Vedic instructions. In the orders of Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, there are no facilities for sex. In this verse, the woman is advocating Pravritti Marg only and is discouraging the path of Nivritti Marga. She clearly says that yatis, the transcendentalists, who are concerned only with spiritual life, kaivalya, cannot imagine the happiness of Pravritti Marga. In other words, the man who follows the Vedic principles enjoys the materialistic way of life, not only by becoming happy in this life, but also in the next life by being promoted to the heavenly planet. In this life, such a person gets all kind of material opulences such as sons and grandsons because he is always engaged in various religious functions. The material distresses are birth, old age, disease, and death. But those who are interested in Pravritti Marg hold various religious functions at the time of birth, old age, disease, and death. Without caring for diseases of birth, old age, without caring for distresses of birth, old age, disease, and death, they are addicted to performing the special functions according to the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Factually, however, Pravritti Marga is based on sex life. as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.45, Yan Maithunadi Grahamedi Sukham Hitucham. A householder who is too much addicted to Pravrti Marga is actually called a Grahamedi, not a Grahastha. Although Grahastha desires sense gratification, he acts according to Vedic instructions. The Grahamedi, however, is interested only in sense gratification, does not follow any Vedic instruction. The Grahamedi engages himself as an advocate of sex life and also allows his sons and daughters to engage in sex and to be deprived of any glorious end in life. A Grahastha enjoys sex life in this life as well as in the next, but a Grahamedi does not know what the next life is about because he is simply interested in sex in this life. On the whole, one is too much inclined towards sex. He does not care for the transcendental spiritual life. In this age of Kali, especially, no one is interested in spiritual advancement. Even though it is sometimes found that one may be interested in spiritual advancement, he is most likely to accept a bogus method of spiritual life, being misguided by so many pretenders. Text 40. Pitradevarshimardyanam भूतानामानमनश्चः क्षेम्यं वदन्ति शरणं भवे अस्मिन् यद्ग्रहाश्रमः पितृदेवर्षिमर्त्यानां भूतानामात्मनश्चः क्षेम्यं वदन्ति शरणं भवे अस्मिन् यद्ग्रहाश्रमः पितृदेवर्षिमर्त्यानां भूतानामात्मनश्चः क्षेम्यं वदन्ति शरणं भवे अस्मिन् यद्ग्रहाश्रमः. Translation. The women continue. According to authorities, the householder life is pleasing not only to oneself, but to all the forefathers, demigods, great sages, saintly persons, and everyone else. A householder life is thus beneficial. Purport. According to the Vedic system, when one is born in this material world, he has many obligations. He has obligations to the demigods of sun and moon, King Indra, Varuna, etc., because they are supplying the necessities of life. We receive heat, light, water, and all other natural amenities through the mercy of the demigod. We are also indebted to our forefathers who have given us these bodies, paternal property, intelligence, society, friendship, and love. Similarly, we are indebted to general public for politics and sociology, and we are also indebted to lower animals such as horses, cows, asses, dogs, and cats. In this way, as soon as one is born in this material world as human being, he has so many obligations and is bound to repay all these obligations. If he does not repay them, he is further entangled in the process of birth and death. The Grahamedi, however, who is overly addicted to material things, does not know that if he simply takes shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, he is immediately freed from all obligations to others. Unfortunately, a Grahamedi does not have any interest in Krishna consciousness. Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirna Krishne paratah swato va mitho abhipadayeta graha vratanam. Bhagavatam 7.5.30. A graha vrata is the same as a grahamedi. One who takes sex life to be supreme finds actions in Krishna consciousness confusing, either due to his own personal consideration or due to his having taken instructions from others or conferring with them. He becomes addicted to sexual indulgence and cannot act in Krishna consciousness. End of purport. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can use today's lecture to purify myself. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to purify myself. I'm going to read from a couple of lectures, one given by His Grace Pankajamati Prabhu and one by His Grace Keshavananda Prabhu, and summarize. Please pardon me if I make any mistake in summarizing this. So, Srila Prabhupada mentions here that this lady is propagating the Pravarti Marg exclusively. This lady represents intelligence, which is contaminated by lust. Whereas the king is representing the conditioned soul, who is just going along with it. He thinks it's a great idea. But in the material world, as we know, people think it's created for sense gratification. But we forget that there is something very important this material world offers, this human life offers. This offers a great opportunity which comes after transmigrating to 8.4 million species of life, which is an opportunity to exit the material world. So it's a very, very small opening to actually get out. Otherwise, of course, there are all kinds of sense gratification available, and we want to take the position of the Lord. We know that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, sense gratifier. So we also want to become that, and we try to mimic him and get frustrated. So now, because we are trying to mimic Krishna and enjoy, we get into trouble. Because we are trying to do something that we are trying to be something that we are not. We are actually controlled. And we can't have unlimited enjoyment like Krishna. That is the reality. We are controlled by Krishna or by Krishna's energies, Yoga Maya, Mahamaya. And our job is to serve Krishna. It is said that Krishna is the only Purusha and everybody else is Prakriti. And Purusha is supposed to enjoy Prakriti. So when the soul is having this understanding and working as a servant of Krishna, then everything functions properly. The soul tries to give pleasure to Krishna, and in that process, derives pleasure for himself also. That's what its function is. That's the natural function. So, in this way, soul will be perfectly situated, perfectly contained, completely sheltered, and experiences the highest bliss possible. But when we are not in that position, when we try to forget our natural position of being servant of Krishna and try to enjoy and try to be happy with that, that is almost like banging our head against the wall. Right? And that's where we see people are so much frustrated, right? Especially here we see in the Western world, people will marry sometimes 2 times, 3 times, 4 times even. So the idea is if it does not work out with one person, no problem, try another one and try another one. But they forget that it's the old wine in the new bottle. So basically, it's the same problems, just packaged differently. So you will never be satisfied this way. And then eventually you get old and tired and you either accept that person or you live alone. So that is the reality of sense gratification, right? And other thing is people don't want any restrictions. They want to do anything they want to do at any time, they want to do, and they don't want anybody to restrict them. So, for example, if I want to eat meat, I want to get it right away. I do not care if it's taking somebody's life or what is the karmic reaction out of it. I just want it because my tongue feels like that. So, this is the demonic mentality which comes out of unrestricted sense gratification. Okay, so now what Vedas teach us is that you can, if yes, you can live on the path of Pravarti Marga, but it has to be regulated. So, for example, there is provision of even animal sacrifice in Vedas, but that is done in a very proper way. You need to uh, basically chant some mantras and you tell that animal, you whisper in the ear that I'm taking your life right now, but and in order for you to get a better life next next birth, and also you can do the same to me in another birth. So you kind of take responsibility of your action. You don't just kill them because you can. So similarly, if someone wants to be a householder, there is a proper way of doing. There are rules and regulations of how to have a proper family life, not like unrestricted sense enjoyment. So this is what is given in the Vedas, and this is the proper Pravarti mark. But we need to understand that most people are not able to follow that, right? Most people who enter into a householder life, they are not following Vedic injunctions, and they are just trying to do whatever their mind says, and that's why they find it such a struggle. It's a struggle, right? Searching for that happiness. But day after day, they keep getting some obstacles, some setbacks from their family members or from the uh, job they do or business or their friends. And they keep getting disappointed in the search of this happiness. So, this is the reality of material life, right? But if we submit to Krishna, and we understand he is the supreme controller, then our false ego is diminished, right? And then we no longer consider ourselves the controller and the enjoyer, right? And that way, we, instead of serving your senses, you serve Krishna's senses. And instead of thinking everything as your property, you think, no, it's Krishna's property. I'm just caretaker, right? And you and your family and your friends, if everybody engages in Krishna consciousness, then it becomes no longer about you. You are not at the center of uh, things, and there is no question of getting disappointed or having any expectations from anybody. Then it becomes all about how can we serve Krishna. So, for example, we have this great festival coming up on Sunday, Radhashtami. So you can see, I know many people will go today and tomorrow to do uh, some seva. And you can see how different people are coming together from different walks of life, different age groups, and how they are cooperating together to celebrate this festival. So this is an example, right? It's Krishna is at the center, and it's not about anybody. It's just about Krishna and Radharani in this case, and we are doing this for their pleasure to make this festival a success. So this is the real understanding. Srila Sanatan Goswami, he asked Lord Chaitanya that, I'm sure you all know that he was a very learned person and he was in a very high position working for the Nawab of Bengal. So people used to think he's famous, he's rich, he's very intelligent. But he told Lord Chaitanya, the reality is that I even don't know who am I. He asked him the famous verse, Ke Ami. I don't know who I am, why I'm here, what is the aim of life. And these people think that I'm very intelligent. So please instruct me. So he submitted himself to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he got his answers. So we need to understand that unless we are born with good karma, good adhikaras, then we would not be able to ask these questions and take shelter of the Supreme Lord. We can see so many people in this world are just going about their business and committing all kinds of sins and going down the path of hell. And they do not ask these questions. Who am I? What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning? Only few ask, right? And even Krishna says that, four kinds of people come to me. So we should consider ourselves very fortunate that we had that curiosity or that need, whatever the case may be, but we are here inquiring about the higher purpose of life. So just to summarize, we have to understand that it's not that Grasta life is bad. We have examples of Kashyap Muni, Aditi, Kardama Muni, Devahuti, even very recently Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and so many Vaishnava devotees who are great examples of this. Bhakti Vinod Thakur used to say, Manasa deho geho jo kichu more arpita tuva pade nanda kishore. So whatever I have, my family, my home, whatever I possess, I offer to you, my Lord. So that is the real household life. And we have to understand that householder life is beneficial and practical if it is lived according to the Vedic instructions, not whimsically. And if people think that household life can be pleasing in the any way they want to live, then they are going to be very disappointed, right? So, lastly, there is a mention about repaying the obligations to so many different people. Every jiva has these obligations to forefathers, to demigods, and other living entities. But if we become devotees, if we serve Lord Krishna, then we do not have to pay separate obligations to everyone, because same thing, when we water the root, everybody gets benefited, every part of the tree gets benefited. So same way, by pleasing the Supreme Lord, everybody gets pleased and everybody's debt is paid. With this, I would like to end. Vancha kalpatubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavnebhyo